Are you taking the IELTS exam soon? Are you ready for the IELTS Writing Task 1? On IELTS Writing Task 1, you may have to describe a process. Today, we are going to look at some helpful words and phrases you can use when writing about a process. Presented by Bounce English. When writing about a process, you use certain words and phrases to describe the transition from one step to another. In this video, we are going to look at how to use these terms to order steps in a process. Let's take a look at this diagram. You should pause the video, then take a little time to look at the order of the steps and try and understand what is being represented. For the first step in a process, you can use words or phrases like first, the first step, or to start the process. For example, first, the bee collects the nectar. The first step is for the bee to collect the nectar. To start the process, the bee collects the nectar. For the final steps in a process, you can use words or phrases like finally, the final step, lastly, or the last step. For example, finally, the beekeeper collects the honey. The final step is for the beekeeper to collect the honey. Lastly, the beekeeper collects the honey. The last step is for the beekeeper to collect the honey. For the middle steps, the most common transition words are then and next. Then, the bees transfer the nectar to other bees. The bees then transfer nectar to other bees. Next, the bees transfer nectar to other bees. In general, it's good if you use more linking words such as after that, following this, or the next stage is. Using these phrases correctly will help improve your band score. Just be careful not to overuse them. For example, after that, the bees in the hive dry the nectar with their wings. Following this, the bees in the hive dry the nectar with their wings. The next stage is when the bees in the hive dry the nectar with their wings. Great! Let's put these transition words into action. First, the honey bees collect nectar and pollen from flowers. Then, the honey bees fly back to the hive. The bees digest the nectar as they fly. Once in the hive, the honey bees transfer the nectar to the worker bees. Next, the worker bees dry the nectar with their wings. Lastly, when the honey is ready, the beekeeper collects the honey from the hive. Okay, let's review. Use words or phrases such as first, the first step, or to start the process when you're describing the beginning of a process. For middle steps, use words or phrases like then, next, after that, following this, and the next stage is. To describe the last step in a process, use finally, the final step, lastly, or the last step. Practice using these words and phrases, and you'll successfully describe processes in no time. Want to learn more about describing processes in the IELTS Writing Task 1? Then enroll today in Unlocking IELTS Academic Writing Task 1 Processes by Bounce English. This course gives you an easy-to-use formula for how to approach writing Task 1 when you are given a diagram of a process on the IELTS exam. This formula works every time. It also teaches you about key grammar and vocabulary for this writing task. Visit us today at bounceenglish.rocks for more information on this and our other IELTS courses. Sign up today. Bounce English. Where will your next bounce take you?